Oh, hello, it is I, your boy Gomi, and we are back with some good old-fashioned UFC Apex goodness. Oh boy, we're going to UFC Vegas 89. And I gotta say, wow, this is one of the fight card headliners of all time. But what I'm hoping for is it's a lesser hyped card that ends up being an absolute banger. That's what I hope. I kept trying to do reverse psychology and say that the card last week would be awful, would be horrible, blah blah blah, hoping that it would end up being really good. Nope, it lived up to the expectations, unfortunately. But yes, we're gonna look at UFC Fight Night Ribas Vs Namajunas, and I gotta say, man, they look rough. Oh god, they do not look, they look rough in these pictures. Like, turn down the clarity, de-sharpen these images. What y'all doing, UFC? Regardless, we're not here for how they look, we're here for how they fight. So let's get down into this card. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on this card because it is a D-Day card. There's a lot of low-level matchups, unfortunately, which I'm not a huge fan of. First fight is gonna be Muhammad Usman versus Mick Parkin. This is a tricky fight for me. I believe I need to see who's the favorite. It's got to be Parkin, right? Why are you separating the UFC fights? Yes, Parkin is going to be a favorite of -142. I can see why. Muhammad Usman, after the Ultimate Fighter finale, when he got into the UFC, he has not looked great. He's been winning his fights. He's been winning them, but he hasn't looked great at doing it. He seems like he's gassing out. He has a ton of power, but he's not able to sort of land that power at an effective rate, and he ends up doing a little bit of lay and pray. He knocked out Zach Bauga, but Zach Bauga's not that good, I'm sorry. And then he laid on the Tafa and he laid on Collier. So Mike Parkin, on the other hand, he's not a guy who's going to be sitting there and getting laid on, and he has very solid boxing. He also has the same reach, and he has a height advantage over Muhammad Usman. This is going to be a harder matchup for Usman to sort of lay and prey on. We have not seen much of Parkin's on the back, to be honest with you. In fact, he shoots for even more takedowns. I think I'm going to go in the way of lesser fun. I'm going to be taking Usman by decision. I just think the boxing of Parkin is not good enough to counteract the wrestling of Usman. So give me Usman by decision. Igor Severino versus Andre Lima. This is going to be a debut for both guys. Igor Severino, he's a little bit more of aggressive fighter, while Lima's a little bit less aggressive of a fighter. This should be a solid matchup, but it's just too soon for these guys to have a really good read on either of these guys. They're both coming off, I believe, contender series for, I know for Silva, I need to see for, or Cervino, sorry. I need to see, oh, it is Silva. I knew it was Silva somewhere. Yes, both coming off contender series. There's never been a, Silva, I believe, he's never went the distance. I'm going to be going to Andre Lima. I just think the age difference is going to be what does it. And the fact that Cervino's never been to distance. Lima has at least twice. Montserrat Rendon versus Daria Zelenzilikova. I can't say her name. Regardless, not much in this fight. Montserrat is a decision queen. She is a decision machine, even more than Merab, honestly. She has a 0% finish rate. Every fight she's had, she has won, and it's also gone the distance. While Daria actually has some power. She has some pop, she has some stings on her shots, and I do really like her overall technical kickboxing style. I definitely think she has the ability to land hands on Montserrat, and to be honest with you, I've seen Montserrat's striking defense has been rather piss poor, to be perfectly honest with you. It's not good. She gets hit quite a bit. She gets hit quite a bit, and she doesn't land very well. I'm going to be going with Daria, and I think I'm going to take a rare KO. I don't usually pick women's MMA fights to get KO. Bit me in the ass last week, but I think this week I'm going to be taking Daria Dina KO. Jarno Aarons versus Stephen Gwynn. Yes, it is pronounced Win. I hate the pronunciation, but regardless, Stephen Wynn is a very good fighter overall. He beat the living crap out of AJ Cunningham. Not a great elite level fighter, but still he treated him as he should. He's very dangerous in the stand-up. We have not seen a ton of his grappling, but we've seen that he's got very good takedown defense. Jarno Aarons, he's tough. That's all I really got from him. That's all I really got for Jarno Aarons. He's tough, but he's not that good. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. I'm going to be taking for Gwen to get it done. I want to say decision for Gwen. I want to say knockout, but like I said, Aarons is tough, so give me a decision. Miles Johns is going to be making a short notice return to the octagon after a suspension. I've heard many conflicting things. I've heard people say it wasn't steroids, it was steroids. I don't know. USADA is gone now. Surprise, surprise. And then he returns. And a lot of also aged fighters have been turning back the clock. I'm not going to say anything more. But yes, Miles Johns going up against Cody Gibson. Even though this is short notice, I like Miles Johns in this. Cody Gibson does have a size advantage being the taller and longer fighter. I just think Johns is the stronger and the better wrestler. There's a chance he can gas out, or there's a chance he can look like he could go 84 rounds. Depends how he comes back. But the short notice is something that makes me hesitant to bet on this. I'm tentatively going to be picking Miles Johns by a decision just due to the toughness of Cody Gibson. Miles Johns is very tough. He's not very tough. He's very strong. He can absolutely finish most guys. But I think Gibson is too tough to get finished by short notice Miles Johns. But make no mistake, this go the other way. And Gibson can get a decision or even a KO, to be perfectly honest with you. Again, it's hard to say. He's coming off a layoff and such like that. And I don't like picking guys coming off layoffs, especially for steroid use. So I'm just going to go decision for Johns, but I'm not going to bet it. Ricardo Ramos versus Julian Juicy J or Juicy Rosa, whatever his name is. Juicy J. I hate that name. I don't like that name. Not a fan of it. Ramos is tough. Ramos is powerful. Ramos has power. The height and minor reach advantage, mainly the height of Julian Rosa, I can feel could give him a lot of problems. It's basically a short king going up against a 6'1" featherweight, which is very rare. We have two of them on this card, despite how rare that is. I'm going to be leaning towards Ricardo Ramos, and I think he could get it done by KO. Julian Rosa, we've seen him get clipped. We've seen him get chinned. I don't have much faith in his ability to really stay durable, to be honest with you. He's been finished 7 times. Ricardo Ramos has 4 knockouts. He has a lot of submissions, but I think the knockout is going to be coming in this fight, to be honest with you. Give me Ricardo Ramos to get the KO over Julian Rosa. Kurt Hollabaugh versus Trey Ogden. Ugh. I just do so bad when it comes to Trey Ogden fights, man. I did pick Nicholas Mota to take out Trey Ogden, and Trey Ogden was beating the piss out of Nicholas Mota. That was ending up being a very bad pick. He lost Ignacio Bahamondes. He just doesn't seem like he's all that, to be perfectly honest with you. Trey Ogden, he's got good jiu-jitsu and everything like that, but Kurt Hollabaugh, he's tough. He can grind through. He can strike with you. I like Kurt Hollabaugh. I think he's pretty solid. He's coming off this Ultimate Fighter win. I don't remember who it was against. Oh, it was Austin Hubbard. I forgot. It was Austin Hubbard. And that was a really good submission he had. I don't think he's going to submit Trey Ogden due to his jiu-jitsu chops. He has been submitted 3 times, though, to be fair. I don't think he's going to finish him. I'm going to be taking Kurt Hollabaugh by decision. But keep in mind, Trey Ogden might F me. He might screw me. Fernando Padilla versus Luis Pajuelo. This is going to be a good fight. This is probably, I think, the fight I'm going to be looking forward to the most. Fernando Padilla has never been knocked out. That boy is tough. He is durable. He has never been finished. He's long and lanky, which is very weird for a guy who's never been finished. And he is another 6'1" featherweight. But Pajuelo, he comes out at you like a bat out of hell. 7 of his 8 wins are by knockout. He is vicious. He is here to beat you up with strikes to the body, strikes to the head. But Padilla is a taller guy, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to land those headshots. But he's not that much taller. Pajuelo is not that much shorter. I think this is just going to be a banger. Padillah's a little bit more short, and he's a little bit more slow volume. He's a little bit more rangy of a striker, pick at you from distance, but I still think that Luis Pagillo is just going to be running into him, just running into the pocket, striking and exchanging at a furious pace. I really like this fight. I think this is going to be a super fun fight. I think Padillo's going to turn back the clock coming off that loss from, not turn back the clock, but get a win, get back in the win column after coming off that loss to Kyle Nelson. He also beat the chef, Julian Rosa. But yeah, I'm going to think Padillo's going to win on a decision. It'll be a sway decision. I think he's going to be too tough, too durable. And we got our boy Billy Q taking on Yusuf Zalal. Yusuf Zalal is returning back to the UFC after giving the piss beat out of him by, did he use a draw with Damon Blackshear? But I know he got the living piss beat out of him by the current featherweight champion Ilia Topuria. One of the few people Ilia Topuria couldn't finish. But Yusuf Zalal is getting his ass kicked most of these fights, to be perfectly honest with you. Lost to Woodson. He lost to someone else. And then I remember the most recent was his draw against Damon Blackshear. He got booted from the UFC. Had a couple wins in Spartan Combat League. Big freaking whoop. He was fighting absolute freaking cans like Jake Childers. Billy Q, though, is solid. He is a solid fighter. Good striking output. Good wrestling. Not the best and definitely not as good as Zalal, but I think it's good enough. And he's only lost to good guys. Getting knocked out by Edson Barboza. Edson Barboza is still a monster. Even in this age, he still can crack. And then he lost to Shane Burgos. Like, he's not a bad fighter by any stretch of the means. He beat Damon Jackson. It was a very competitive fight. Damon Jackson had some solid success in the fight, but Damon Jackson, I think, is a better level than Yusuf Zalal. We've seen Yusuf Zalal. We've seen his level. He got booted from the UFC, can crush cans, but at the end of the day, he's low-tier UFC. He simply is, and I think Billy Q is above that. He beat the crap out of Alex Hernandez. Yes, Alex Hernandez going down in weight, but he beat the crap out of him. Alex Hernandez was a very highly touted prospect until he ran into Cowboy. I think Billy Q can win this one. I think he's going to win the scorecards. Peyton Talbot versus Cameroon Simon. Cameroon Simon going to be a training partner of Dricus du Plessis, South African. I like Cameroon Simon striking. Talbot is a very highly touted prospect. He's highly on the come up. He has a stupid tattoo, but he's very solid. His striking is good. We haven't seen much in terms of his grappling, but his takedown defense has held up magnificently well so far. I like, though, Cameroon Simon. He comes from that golden era of Contender Series. He can knock you out. He has tons of power. And yes, he's coming off a loss, but he ran into an overweight Christian Rodriguez. I'm really not liking Christian Rodriguez after that robbery last week, after how he fights. Like, I'm not a fan of Christian Rodriguez. And he came in heavy against Cameroon Simon, hence why he won. Simon's team was gassing, but he was fighting a guy a weight class above him, to be perfectly fair. I think Simon's strong, he's got good power, and he has really good knockout ability. Peyton Talbot is very much the same thing. Probably more knockout power, to be honest with you, but I like Simon striking, and I've seen some holes with body kicks with Talbot. I've seen that. I think Cameroon Simon could win by a knockout, and I want to gamble on it, but I'm just going to take Simon by decision. How I'm actually going to bet, I'm just going to bet Simon, who is the dog, by the way. Simon is a dog. He is a... How much of a dog is he? He's plus 124, minor underdog. I think it's a solid bet to sprinkle on him. I like Simon in this position, and yeah, give it to me by decision. Decision or knockout? Yes. Edmund Shabazian versus AJ Dobson. Why is Shabazian such a huge favorite? Unless it's been bet that. No, he's still minus 205. We're really going to be betting Edmund Shabazian as a minus 205. Really? Really? We're really going to be doing that? So yes, he's this highly touted prospect. This guy was insane coming off Contender Series. Then he was getting finish, after knockout, after knockout. Oh my god, this guy's so good. Oh god, he knocked out Brad Tavares. He ran into Brunson. Brunson beat the shit out of him. Hermanson, of course, boring ass Hermanson gets a decision. Yeah, big whoop. And Imamov finishes him. But then he turns back the clock against whatever his name is. I can't remember. It was nothing. It was 282. It was blah. got a knockout, cool. And then he gets the shit beat out by Anthony Hernandez. I'm sorry. Edmund Shabazian was a hype job. I'm not buying into it. AJ Dobson's not good. He simply just isn't. He doesn't have really any good wins over good guys. But the main thing is he's durable, and Shabazian gasses out. Shabazian's like, I'm going to knock you out or finish you, or you're going to beat the shit out of me. I can see the same thing happening with Dobson. I'm going to be picking Dobson. Yes. And Dobson is currently a plus 170 underdog. I like Dobson in the spot. I think he'll survive against Edmund Shabazian, and then eventually he'll be able to take him out in the later rounds. Give me Dobson via KO, but I think decision might be a little bit more likely. I'm just going to bet the KO, or I'm just going to say the KO, because I've said a lot of decisions tonight, so. Co-main event of the evening. What the fudge is going on with this fight? What the fudge? Justin Tafa sliding in for Junior Tafa, because Junior Tafa slid in for Justin Tafa and he got the living piss beat out of him. Now Justin Tafa's healed and he's taking on Carl Williams, the more dangerous opponent, yet people are showing love to Justin Tafa. Carl Williams was a minus 290 favorite. He opened up at. He's been bet all the way down to minus 192. What the hell, man? I don't know. I'm not placing stock into Justin Tafa in this fight. I picked Tafa to win his last fight, his brother. I don't think he's getting past Carl Williams. Justin Tafa's really good in his terms of his grappling defense. Carl Williams, he's okay in his grappling offense, but I don't think he's going to be grappling. I think he's going to be keeping distance using that 5-inch. Yes, using that 5-inch reach advantage, keep him at distance. He's not going to be in the pocket. He's going to be picking apart Justin Tafa. Eventually, Tafa's going to be taking those shots, maybe even sprinkling some leg kicks, to be honest with you. And I think he's going to take him out around 2 or 3, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm taking Carl Williams in this. Chalky, but I'm taking the choke. And on to the main event of the evening. Oh, God. The flyweight matchup between Amanda Ribas versus Rose Namajunas. Yeah. Amanda Ribas is going to be 30 years of age, 12 wins, 4 losses, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions, 5'3" in terms of height, orthodox stance, 66-inch reach advantage, a 1.99 takedown average, a 51.72% significant strike accuracy, plus 210 underdog. Significance over Luana Pinheiro, Viviana Araujo, Vriana Gendrova, and Paige Van Zandt. Oh, God, I had to put Paige Van Zandt on there. Rose Namajunas is going to be 31 years of age, 12 wins, 6 losses, 2 knockouts, 6 submissions, 5'5" in terms of height, orthodox stance, 65-inch reach disadvantage, a 1.49 takedown average, a 48.72% significant strike accuracy, minus 260 favorite. Significant wins over Zhang Weili twice, Jessica Andrade, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk twice. I'm taking Amanda Ribas. I like Amanda Ribas better in the spot. Yep. Rose Namajunas, I've seen her decline now. Yes, she lost the Esparza fight due to awful coaching from her husband, good old Pat Barry, telling her, no, you hear the crowd booing? That's good. No, it's not it's not good. I was booing my freaking lungs out in that audience. God, yes, I saw that fight live, and it just was bad. It was so infuriating because neither person fought. Neither person felt like they knew what they were doing. And then her Mananfiora loss. She just got beat out by Mananfiora. I had faith in Thug Rose, but Mananfiora was just a better fighter. I think Amanda Ribas is a better fighter, to be honest with you, as well, too. I think she's bigger. Yes, Rose has a size advantage in terms of height, but I think Ribas is bigger for the weight class. I like Ribas' grappling, and we saw Zhang Weili had some success in the grappling against Rose, but Rose also had a lot of success in the rematch as well, too. I'm going to be leaning towards Ribas. I like her better in the spot, and I also don't like how Rose has been lately, and I don't like how it seems like she's not training with Whitman anymore. He wasn't in her corner in her last fight or this fight confirmed. I don't like that. That was the reason why her striking was so good and why she was able to knock out Zhang Weili. That's why she was able to knock out like Joanna Jędrzejczyk. But now I'm not too sure. Rose Namajunas, like, yeah, she has some great wins against Zhang, but those were 2 years ago. I don't know. 3 years ago. Forgive me. 3 years ago. 4 years ago, her win against Jessica Andrade. Yeah, I'm going to be leaning towards Amanda Ribas. I'm going to be leaning towards decision. I don't think she can submit Rose. Rose is too good on the ground, but I don't think she'll knock her out because Ribas is striking. It's not the best. It's a little bit of a gamble, but I'm going to be taking Ribas to win by decision. It's women's MMA and a main event, so honestly, dog or pass is your best thing. You don't want to be laying chalk on Rose Namajunas, how she's been looking, but also don't put too much stock in Amanda Ribas. So don't bet on it, but I will be putting a little bit of a sprinkle on Ribas. I don't want to put the over. I do think Ribas wins the decision, but just something screams at me and not put money on the over. So just Ribas money line. It's good enough value at plus 200. She's now currently actually minus 185. No, plus 200 still. So yeah, she's went down a little bit, but yeah. Well, that has been all for UFC Vegas 89. Once again, this has been your boy Gomi. Please let me know what you think in the comments section down below. And once again, bye-bye.